well as TikTok. And we appreciate your time. I know that I won't be on here long holding you up, but we will get down to the nitty gritty this morning to the power of compassion and why is it so important. I'm learning every day that in this lifetime we are faced with so many difficulties and trials and tribulations that sometimes we get conformity and complacent going on in our lives, and so it is hard to really find our way, if that makes any sense. And so along the way, you can get angry, you can get upset, you can get, they call it getting in your own head, whatever the case may you want to call it, but you have to find you every day. Every day is a journey, really, to find you. You have to redefine you every now and then. Like you might find a piece of you, right? And you run with that, and then all of a sudden that energy runs out. Now you got to redefine yourself again, almost like recreating yourself. If you want some good examples of that, I mean, one great example would be if you are a hip hop follower, you would follow Jay-Z when he first came out. You know, it was the Jay-Z thing, and then it turned into the Jigga thing, and then it turned into the Hova thing, and then it turned into the S. Carter thing. He was constantly reinventing himself, coming up with different energies to allow people to continuously follow his movement. And I say to you each and every day, in order to grow your movement, you have to have something within that movement. And then within his movement, he was able to captivate people because he was telling stories that people could relate to. And I say to you each and every day that when you're moving about, some people have this energy to chase the bag, right? And there is nothing wrong with chasing the bag, right? But it has no conclusion. It's about that rat race once again, that continuous cycle of trying to achieve something that really you can never get enough of. You know, I don't care who you are and what you do. You can never get enough money, right? But really, money has no value. It's the person behind the money that has the value. You could say, well, Mr. Quick, well, $1 million has a lot of value. Well, it has a lot of value if it's placed in the right places, right? And if it's put into proper use. You know, they said, I guess we spent $20 billion on the war in Ukraine, and that $20 billion could have been spent towards healing or helping get rid of homelessness and went into the medical field to heal a lot more people. So when you think of $20 billion, yeah, if it's spent wisely, it can do great. But money is not the value. It's the thought and the idea behind the money, the compassion, the power of compassion. Tap the screen, share the live. So this morning, I want to talk about the fundamental human value that has the power to transform lives, communities, and the world at large. That value is compassion. What is compassion, right? Compassion is more than just feeling sorry for someone, right? It's about putting yourself in others' shoes, understanding their struggles, and taking action to alleviate their suffering. Compassion is about empathy, kindness, and generosity. I say compassion is about empathy, kindness, and generosity. Why is compassion so important? Well, compassion is essential in our personal and professional lives. When we show compassion, we build stronger relationships based on trust, empathy, and understanding. And I'm going to pause on here because I want to take you into detail. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, good brother Matthews. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? Logan. Let's talk about, I'm sorry, I got taken off a little bit. Compassion is the essential personal and professional lives. When we show compassion, we build stronger relationships. So let me take you into this tangent just real quick. when we talk about male and female relationships, right? Sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. Like when you meet someone, you get into the vibe of the physical part of a relationship, right? You know, if she's beautiful, man. Like I'm not taking that away from anybody. You know what I'm saying? If you find a beautiful woman and I'm saying you look at her and you say, man, I got to have that. I'm not mad at you at all. And if a woman finds a beautiful man, a handsome, legit handsome man, and you look at him and you say, man, I got to have that. I am not mad at you at all. But beyond that physicality, there is something that hits a little harder, and that's when life be lifing. Okay. And so sometimes we all get sick. Sometimes we all go through a mental struggle. And that's when you know you truly have a great relationship, because within that relationship, after the lust is gone, the thrill is gone. Okay, all right, I'm not gonna go there. Okay, so after the lust is gone, right? There should be another element of love that steps up, right? And that to me is the power of compassion, because when that person gets sick, it's up to you now to step up and give trifold the energy so that they can be revived again. Once again, I say this very, very harshly, because we live in times now where it's easy to get divorced. It's easy to give up because the compassion in the relationship is gone. That's because sometimes we get into relationships for the wrong reasons. So when you talk about compassion, look at it from this point of view. Your partner is your ride or die. In this world, once you find a partner that is with you, right? That's your ride or die. Like when you step out the house, you know you got associates. I need you to understand the difference between best friends and associates. When you step out the house, you got associates. You got people you deal with on a daily basis, and they provide a specific type of compassion. You know, they want to see you win, whatever, or maybe they just utilizing you for your talents or whatever the case may be. But then there's someone that you can always come home to when the outside world treats you like trash. You can come home to that ride or die. Now, every day ain't gonna be roses. Tap the screen, share the live. I think sometimes we get that confused. Every day is not gonna be roses. So as you going on with your relationship, there's some things that's gonna happen on the inside. Like once again, COVID was a great example of how relationships were broken along the way. During COVID, I don't have the percentage in front of me, but what I remember in 2022, there was like at least 30 to 35% relationships that were broken up during COVID because you started spending more time with people that you normally wasn't spending more time with. If that makes any sense, you were home more. So therefore, as you was home more, you were seeing this person more. And now you got to see all the attitudes and y'all were in each other's way a little bit more. And so that therefore, the relationship showed you that it wasn't as tight as you thought it was. Okay. And so there was an element of compassion that was not there, because now you're frustrated. One, you're home. Two, you can't go out really because there's things going on. And so three, now you forced to learn something that you should have been learning in the first place, which is building that relationship, right? And so now sickness came about. She or he was sick, and now it's up to you, because you're a little stronger, to take care of that person. And now you get to see how that person acts when they're sick. Some people act more babyish when they're sick. Some people are strong and stubborn when they're sick. You know, you got all of these emotions going on, right? But now you have to determine, is your compassion high enough to handle that relationship? You feel what I'm saying? And so this is why a lot of relationships today fail, because we TikToking it and YouTubing it and social media, and it's easy to see through a screen and talk, you know, to a person, but it's harder when you're in front of them in that vibrational pull that you guys have to share with one another. You know, that it's harder to deal with life on that level. You know what I'm saying to you? Because they right there. You can't lie to a person when you can. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase this. The energy don't lie. That energy doesn't lie. Energy is real. It is what it is. And it's going to come to the forefront. When natural energy is going to come to the forefront. If you're really not feeling a person, it's going to show not only on your facial expressions, but your energy, your vibration is going to show that. And see, when you have compassion and love for someone, that other partner will feel that. You feel me? And it's either going to get cut short or it's going to last through eternity. And I had to learn this, that we as a people, it's okay to find a mate that may be looking beautiful, but it's even greater when you can find a mate. A man can find a woman that fits that category of piety, fits that category of empathy, fits that category of wanting to see me build, right? And the same with a woman. It's okay when a woman finds a man who's really a man, truly a man, like, right, a man that really has integrity enough to be by her side when she's going through her worst of times, right? When you're showing that type of empathy and power within yourself to say, you know what, this is my girl no matter what, you know what I'm saying to you, then you're stepping up to the bat, right? And no matter how independent a woman is, or she may show you how she can get the bag, this, that, and the third, she still wants to be loved, okay? She still wants to be protected. Okay, so don't get it twisted because a woman's making a bunch of money that she doesn't need you. No, she really needs to be protected. She really needs to be loved. Now, she may not know how to show it. Maybe she grew up in a household that didn't show how to hug. She didn't show how to love properly, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't want it. So as a man, it is our duty as men, when we get into relationships, to show our leadership quality so that woman feels that she is protected, just as well as a woman's duty to bring her nurturing care to a man who may be so strong-minded in his head that he doesn't know how to submit a little bit. If you can make him comfortable enough to where he can submit to you, then your energy is going to help build him even stronger. Okay. Tap the screen, share the live. I know I went a little deep with that tangent, but the compassion in that is very important. And I think that we need to understand that part. The second part is create a positive and supportive environment that fosters growth and well-being. When you really create an atmosphere where a man can come to a woman and give and be vulnerable, then you're creating an atmosphere to where that man can continuously build himself. But in your return, if you take that vulnerability and use it against him, it can be a problem in the long term. And that's why, once again, a lot of relationships fold, because when to me, and this is personal opinion, it could be factual if studied more, but to me, a woman has no distinct physical power to beat down a man. So when a man hurts a woman, all she has is her words. And so therefore, at the end of the day, she's going to find something that's going to cut to the core. And so I tend to find out that women, when a man gives a certain part of himself to a woman, and then all of a sudden he makes a mistake or mess up, she reminds him by that vulnerability that he shared. And that is a open door for disaster. I say that is an open door for disaster in any relationship. Okay. So what you have to do is create a positive and supportive environment to where none of those things come to the forefront. What has to come to the forefront is empowerment. And when a man makes a mistake, there's other ways you can correct him in his nuances. And women, if without being petty, because that really is petty row, right? No 10 point antenna. I'm sorry. I know there's somebody on here named Petty Row. I'm not talking about her. Okay. I gotta be careful the words I use. I'm sorry. That is petty. That's a petty situation. Okay. And so at the end of the day, we have to analyze the fact that relationships take time and work. And so if you really love this man, you're not going to use something that's going to tear him down even more when he's not in a great situation. And if you really love this woman, you're not going to put her in a position to where she feels unsafe to be around you. And that is the power of compassion, because you're really thinking beyond yourself now. You're putting yourself in the empathy state of this person and saying, hey, I care about you and I'm going to look out for you, right? The third thing is encourage openness, honesty, and vulnerability, right? And so you encourage vulnerability? How do you encourage this type behavior? Well, one way you encourage this type behavior is to look at yourself as a person of value, right? If you don't look at yourself as a person of value, you can't see what I'm going to tell you. You have to say to that person, hey, I'm here for you. You know how many people are not here for you in the world today? Come on, man. Tap the screen, share the live. Tap the screen, share the live. Do you know how many people that are not here in this world? They see you, but they really don't see you. Okay? Many people, I want to take this term, I don't want to take this term too lightly. Many people, to me, and what I've seen and what I continuously see in this world, are truly opportunists and out for themselves. If you find a person of value, you have found something great in this world. It is very hard to find someone that cares about you in the moment of your trial and tribulation. It is much easier for them to take advantage of you than to be there for you. Are you hearing me? Tap the screen, share the live. So you have to be what you're looking for, if that makes any sense. You have to be the one to be open and honest and vulnerable. You have to be that because you're doing it for yourself. You're opening up so that you can be able to react to life's turmoils a little bit more better. The problem is when you close up, when situations happen, you begin to get angry and offensive towards these situations, and your attitude begins to sour and become negative. So now when you're responding to a situation, it's with a negative energy, right? But when you're more open in your life, you begin to show the experience, the wisdom, and that it has more value in this lifetime than anything, because what you have to understand is you got to go through something to show a little something. You can't teach anybody anything if you ain't been through nothing. Okay, it's easy to have knowledge of something, but when you got wisdom of it, you move a little differently. Your power is a little bit more stronger because your understanding is more valued. You understand? Tap the screen, share the live. All right. So when you learn to be more vulnerable, it's a more easier ride. You understand that you're going to go through some things in life and you're not afraid to go through it. Now, the power is when you find someone else that is willing to go through it with you. That is totality within itself. Sometimes we want to be on this treadmill and think that we all alone, but you're not alone out here if you can find that energy. See, you got to put out the energy that you want back. That's why when I say to you, when you find a woman of piety, man, and when you find a man of strength, a man of valor, then you found a good man. And so therefore I say to you that the strength that you bring to the table is what you're going to get back. That vibrational pull never lies. So if you still putting out weak signals and you wonder why you're getting weak men and women, we have to evaluate how we're dealing with life. All right. So the last one is break down barriers and stereotypes, promoting inclusivity and diversity. Now, this one's a little harder because you have to understand that we live in a world where we've been suggested that Black people were kings and queens at a long time ago, and we were in charge of some things, and now all of a sudden we don't have anything. Like we're not in charge of anything. Like we're good basketball players, good football players, good baseball players, good. We even got good soccer players. We got good Matter of fact, we in hockey now, tennis. We got boxing. We got good qualities in all of these sports, but in the community, we don't own anything. So no one answers the question of how did we go from having all of this kingdoms in Egypt, this, that, and the third, into having nothing. So it has been suggested to us that this is what we are, but our kids are growing up not seeing any role models in that area. And so it is very hard for them to adjust to an idea of something when all they see is savagery around them. And so therefore, the question has to be every day, what happened to the compassion? What happened to the empathy? What happened to the love? What happened to the power of compassion? What happened to it? Where did it go? Because when you start to understand that we all go through some things, then you understand that each one teach one, and that a generation is being lost because we're being selfish. Okay. And although this is a powerful message showing you the power of compassion, I also must recognize that transforming lives in the community comes from understanding the truth. And the truth is we have so many social issues and so many unpredictable encounters with life that if we don't even narrow down on one of them, we're not going to correct anything, and we're going to have generational curses more than generational wealth. Okay? I need you to understand that generational wealth comes from when communities teach each other how to build, not from communities who continuously steal from one another. And as long as we keep thinking individually like that, we will continuously be broken. We have to uplift ourselves out of these turmoils, right? Tap the screen, share the live. Tap the screen, share the live. All right, so the impact of compassion. Compassion has a profound impact on individuals and society as a whole. It reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. Okay? It reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. When you have compassion for someone else, it takes a weight off your shoulder, right? Because you start to see that somebody does have a worse life than you. And sometimes we get bogged in our own head of how bad we think our lives are. But truthfully, there's somebody doing a little bit worse than you. And if you can get out of your head enough to see that, you can grow leaps and bounds, right? Get rid of that depression and anxiety by getting out of your head and get into the world of how can we make other people better, right? And sometimes it takes bouncing ideas off of other people in order to make that happen. So sometimes you need a partner or someone that you can bounce ideas off of that won't be intimidated by the energy of it all, because it is a lot of energy there if you're a person of question. There's many people in life that love the simplicity of life, right? Just easy going, just don't want no trouble, don't want to stir the waters. But then there's people that God chooses to step up, right? And those people that God chooses to step up, you'll miss your calling and wonder why nothing is happening in your life when you don't step up. Everybody has a different journey, right? And so when you find that you're here to transform lives, you have to also have compassion for those lives that you're transforming, if that makes any sense. Tap the screen, share the live. I give you another example of that. For instance, when I go and when I talk and mentor with youth, I understand that they come from different walks of life and different backgrounds. And I understand that they may have grown up in a household that didn't show or didn't give a hug along the way, or didn't just say thank you. They don't know how to say I appreciate you. So if they didn't have all of those things growing up, as they come into their teenage years, what happens is their mindset is stuck in one direction. In order to change them, you would have to actually be in their lives and daily in order to see some type of cognitive behavioral change. It's hard to do that when they have a schedule themselves. So if you're not their big brother, their big sister, and you're not there, they're learning life through social media and the streets. Once again, I said they're learning life through social media and the streets. So when a positive person comes into their lives, they can hear the message, but it's harder for them to receive it when they're always being washed with lack of compassion, washed down with violence and brutality, whether it's on the law side of it, or whether it's on the street side of it, or whether it's in the home. They're being beat down mentally, physically, and spiritually, and you expect them to achieve, right? But we have to continuously ask the question in life, where is the compassion? Where did it go? Because our children are desperately crying out for help. And the reason why you see all of these unalivings are people that are, if they know what it is, it's not rooted or embedded in their spiritual construct. Tap the screen, share the live. Another part, the impact of compassion, it improves mental and physical health. See, when you have compassion, it makes you want to get up and do. And so that changes the mentality of, I need to exercise a little bit more, right? Because you know that it takes energy to have compassion for someone else, because it's very draining, because the person that needs the compassion is spewing onto you their energy and thoughts about how they're living, and sometimes it can be overwhelming, right? But when you have a certain energy level, because you exercise a little bit more, because you eat the right foods a little bit more, they can't deplete you, they can't drain you, because God is preparing you for another level. Feel me? And so it improves mental and physical health. Not only just the mental, because you're learning new words and learning how to formulate ideas into suggestible or suggesting thoughts that provoke change, right? And then physically, obviously, the exercise of it all, right? So the third one is increases feelings of happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment. You say, well, how does compassion make you happy? Well, when you have compassion for someone else, you can make them smile, which is going to make you smile. I'm going to say this again. When you have compassion for someone else beyond yourself, you can make them smile, which is going to make you smile. And whether you know it or not, smiling has a magnitude of energy that is way more than that dollar you receive. That dollar is momentary, right? But when you help somebody, that smile could be there all day. It could be all week, all month. You gonna talk about it, how you made that person feel and how they made you feel in response to the energy that you gave them. It's way bigger than the dollar bill, right? Because time is all we have on this earth. But the stronger you understand the spiritual value of it compared to the physical value, is how you live longer. You put more days onto your life when you understand that much, okay? And so you're going to be happy to help somebody else. You're going to be satisfied that you were able to do it because you have all of this talent within you that you didn't know that you had until you started helping somebody else and you've seen them grow and you said, wow, this can't be nothing but God, because the God consciousness in you understands that it has to evolve. And if you're not evolving to help other people grow, then there's a problem in that. Another one that you need to understand is that it gives a sense of fulfillment. Your desires are being fulfilled. Your life is being fulfilled. And you have to understand that every day, we are not being fulfilled the way we would like to be because we are not putting ourselves in the position that we would like to be in. And that is all because of our own attraction and our own dysfunctional lives that we got going on. We have so many things going on, we can't get focused. I get it, I understand it, and I desire for us to have better. But it's messages like these that wake us up a little bit to the understanding that compassion is very important towards the evolution and growth of the humankind. Um, Last but not least, it inspires positive change and social responsibility. And when we're talking about transforming lives and community, there is a social responsibility. I put up a couple of posts. If you're following my posts, you will see me that the other day when it snowed, I got outside and I shoveled not just my space and property, but I shoveled our driveway, my neighbor's sidewalk, because I wanted us to be able to get out and about if we needed to, right? And the compassion and that is understanding that it wasn't just about me. I could have shoveled my little space, but other people that couldn't get out or that were at work. If I didn't shovel their space, then today it would be nothing but ice there. And getting back and forth in the ice is kind of bad because people could slide into your car. All kinds of things that could happen, right? And so when you take away the selfishness in you and say, you know what, I'm going to have compassion for everybody. I'm just going to do this thing. And so I shoveled the whole driveway. And now when we go outside and look in the driveway, it's all clear. And although the snow is clearing up, you can look at other streets that didn't shovel at all, and you would understand the difference of how the impact could have been if I didn't get out there and put the work in. And which brings me to another thought. Getting out there and putting the work in. If you want to see change, the only way you can see change is if you get out there and put the work in. A lot of people are scared to go out and put the work in because they're looking for the bag. Once again, sometimes putting the work in doesn't require getting the bag, but building relationships and building community, transforming lives in the community, right? Tap the screen, share the live. All right. Positive change. First of all, let's talk about practicing compassion. So how can we cultivate compassion in our daily lives? How can we do that? Right. All right. So first, listening actively and empathetically to others. How many times you got on a live and you were trying to get your point across and somebody was trying to cut you off? Do you think they were listening empathetically towards your conversation? And if you understand that to be true, then is it happening on a consistent basis? And if that is also to be true, then how do you go find solace in the time of situations like that? Because they're not going to let you get your way. So therefore, how are you going to find solace in that? So sometimes it causes you to step out on faith and do your own thing, or find something else that is more conducive to your evolution and your growth than to stay in that place because you're not wanted there. Okay. Another way you can do this is volunteer your time and resources to help those in need. So as I was telling you my little story, that's what you could possibly do to get that compassion, that power that you need to motivate yourself to get up and do more, right? You can go volunteer your services, whether it's in your church or your masjid, in the community settings, in the nonprofit organizations. You're just out there being a part of the solution and not part of the problem. All right, tap the screen, share the live. Also, practice mindfulness and self-care to increase your emotional resilience. You have to be mindful of the moment that you're in so that your emotions won't overturn you and drag you into a wormhole of fear, anxiety, and tension. So you have to learn how to create space. And that is the power of compassion, understanding yourself, having compassion towards yourself to see where you are emotionally and say, hey, I'm not going to let this overwhelm me. Hey, I know that I'm in charge of my life and that I am the creator of my destiny. Hey, I'm going to move in such a way that I understand how to rejuvenate myself in the time of a storm. You feel me? That is power within itself. A lot of people don't have that type of power. What they do is they manifest things all the wrong way. They speak negative things into existence. Your words are so powerful, and you don't understand it now, but you'll understand it as you continue to get old. But your words are so powerful. Every time you say you can't do something, you already you already put a stamp on of disapproval on whatever you was trying to do by telling yourself you can't do something. You can do anything you put your mind to if you have focus in it. Now, you might not be the best at it, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. You might not be the best dancer, but that don't mean you can't dance. You might not be the best cooker, but that don't mean you can't cook. You might not be the best dresser, but that don't mean you can't dress. See, we all have talents, and some of our talents progress a little bit more. You might know how to play basketball, or might can't be the best basketball player, but you know how to play basketball. You see, everybody has a talent, and our talents range from what God has given us in skill level. And so therefore, that don't mean just because you haven't done something, that don't mean you can't do it. You can do anything through the grace of God. You can do anything, right? And I'm gonna give you one more. I'm sorry. One more, yeah. Challenge yourself to see things from a different perspective. Now, that's hard for some people because when you challenge yourself to see things from a different angle, you're always going to be questioned because people like complacency. I'll say it again. People like complacency. They like to feel like they're comfortable in this one space. No one wants to move out of this one space. It's warm, it's cozy, it's safe. Well, if you want to see change, sometimes you got to get unsafe. Sometimes you can't be warm because it's a cold world that we live in. And sometimes you have to understand that we are still strangers to each other, trying to find one another. Tap the screen, share the live. Compassion is a powerful tool that can transform lives, communities, and the world. By incorporating compassion into our daily lives, we can create a more harmonious, supportive, and exclusive society. So let's make a conscious effort to practice compassion every day. Let's make a conscious effort to practice compassion every day. And I want to leave you with this on this Wednesday hump day morning. As you get out into this world and you're dealing with people on a daily basis, whether it's your job, whether it's your friends around the way, whether it's just people that you meet in the store, it's okay to be compassionate. That means if you see somebody that drops something, it's okay to reach down and help them pick it up. Parking spots. I know it's cold outside for if you're up north. I know the snow is there. If you're down south, I know that possession is two-fifths of the law, whatever. You gotta have it because it's yours. But the day you start to learn compassion is the day your life will begin to change. Because compassion not only changes lives, compassion builds character. It shows people that you're more than the superficial fluff that you keep putting out in the air. See, making movies and doing music is nothing without the character behind the person. If they can't learn to love more other people beyond themselves, that is where we lose as a human race, because we can't get beyond hurting one another or doing things that are barbaric in nature in such a way to where we disguise the love that God has for us on the inside and we use it not in a correct manner, our compassion and our empathy towards other is wiped away. And we live in that type of society. And the only way you can get beyond it is to understand that it is you that has to change and be harmonious and supportive towards yourself, so that when you exuberate that love, it comes out in such a way that other people will want to change as well. You are the desired destiny that you're looking for. I continuously tell you this each and every week, because you are the person that can make it happen. Can't nobody else make it happen but you. That's why you were put here. And so I say to you this morning, fellas, step up to the bat, be the protector and provider for our women. Be more compassionate toward their situation. Be more empathetic towards their spiritual journey. Women, I say to you, have the piety and the humility to allow a man to speak to you and become vulnerable, and do not use that against him, but build him up. And you say, well, I build up many black men and they treated me wrong. That man wasn't for you. That man wasn't for you. You built up the wrong man because you didn't see the signs on the wall. That man wasn't for you. But there are some men out here that truly have compassion and love in their heart for you. And when you begin to build that on the inside for yourself, you will attract their magnetism. And just so happen they'll be in your world. And when that does happen, then you could change life. But until then, please continue to build on your compassion towards men, and understand that they don't just have it at home that they got to deal with it, but they got to deal with it in the streets. They got to deal with it when other ethnicities look at them as the criminal on the block. They have so much to lose, and they're trying to find themselves just as well. So women have that compassion and that nurturing spirit to allow them to be vulnerable in that space. And I say to all humans all over the world that we are a people, a strong people of valor. We can overcome any trial or tribulation because we have always been resilient through time. And as we continue to build our lives and evolve into this new world that we're living into, I promise you, it only gets greater later. I promise you, it only gets greater later. Tap the screen, share the live. Listen, I love you guys. This message was for the strong at heart, for those who understand the value of compassion and what it can do to transform lives in the community at large. If you understand that, let God use you in such a way that you do something positive today that's going to uplift you, and always continuously search for yourselves, because when you look in the mirror, there you are. All right. Tap the screen, share the live. I love you guys. I will be back on again Friday. May heaven smile upon you. And I hope this week is transformative for you. Okay. These and all blessings I ask in your name, God. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. May heaven smile upon you, and may Allah continuously grant you with the life thereof that is needed for you to be profound in this world. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you, and may your spiritual movement and be a guide and a light towards your everlasting growth. Thank you very much for listening this morning. I will check you out this Friday. All right. Peace and blessings. Peace.